You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Welcome to Cabral Concept. I'm Stephen Cabral, and today on a Weight Loss Wednesday, we're going to talk to you about what's considered now the holy grail of diet and exercise. So, believe it or not, this practice has been in practice for probably 2, 3, 4 decades or so. But now, literally, medical science is just catching up to what a lot of people in the industry have already been doing. You have to keep in mind that fitness professionals, athletic trainers, personal trainers, National Strength and Conditioning Association specialists, all those different types of people are always doing what is best for their clients to get them the greatest results in the shortest period of time. So well before any published research ever gets to you, it's already been done 10, 20, 30 years. I mean, that's the truth. Whatever we're seeing right now being published, someone already knew about decades and decades ago, probably even longer than that. But today, at least we have now that published research that proves what we've been doing for so long is actually the best way of doing it. And what is that? When you're trying to lose body fat while also tone your body, you want to do this specifically. So I'm going to actually quote the study and then get into some real details. So the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition just published research from the McMaster University that did research on 2 specific groups. So one group was on a normal lower protein diet and one was on a higher protein diet, and they both went through a rigorous weight loss and weight training based program, and the weight training is very important. Now, the group with the higher protein and the intense weight training, they actually lost about 10.5 pounds in the month. But the flip side is this: they also gained 2.5 pounds of muscle, which is very, very impressive because remember, they're at a caloric deficit and they're also at an energy deficit, which means they're expending more energy than they're probably taking in terms of nutrition or calories. The other group on the lower protein end of it went through the same weight training program, but for them, they lost 8.5 pounds of body fat, 8 pounds of body fat, still great, but they maintained their muscle levels. All right, so what does that mean? The first group that added 2.5 pounds of muscle mass, lean muscle mass, and lost that 10.5 pounds actually had a 5-pound swing. That means this: on the scale, they would have lost what looked like the same amount as the other group. However, they gained 2.5 pounds of muscle. So, and they also lost that extra 2.5 pounds of body fat. That's a tremendous thing because if you're gaining just that little bit of 2.5 pounds of muscle and it's spread over your whole body, your body's gonna look more toned, your shoulders are gonna look more defined, your legs are gonna look more defined, your glutes are gonna look more defined, you're gonna look like you're in better shape, your clothes are gonna fit better. The other group still did fantastic. So what did they do? Well, they followed a weightlifting regimen that's gonna help boost their metabolism as well, and they brought down their calories to a certain extent, but they didn't include and up that protein intake. So the takeaway is this: we use the same protocol, and we've been doing this for many, many years, so about 2 decades. And what we do is we've been able to, and I've talked about this in a previous podcast, help clients gain that lean muscle in that first 12 weeks when it shouldn't be possible, right? If you're operating at a caloric deficit and you're losing weight, it means you're probably burning more calories than taking in. You're somehow still able to put on muscle. It's an amazing thing. This is what they looked for in the research. They found that if you're lifting with weights and you're keeping your protein up, that your muscle is basically signaled not to degrade itself or catabolize itself and break down. Why? Because it's simply needed. You're doing manual work like you would have been doing hundreds and thousands of years ago, and you can't lose that muscle. So it's kind of like this self-preservation by lifting weights. So, and I should say actually both groups got this. Nobody lost any muscle. That's the amazing thing. And that's why even people who do fasts and long fasts, they still are able to maintain their muscle mass because they're keeping up with their weightlifting. Maybe not as intense, but they're still weightlifting. So again, my takeaway for you is this: When you want to get in the very best shape of your life, you want to be doing at least every other day of weightlifting. And that doesn't have to be super heavy weights, but it has to be creating a stimulus where your body is brought to some point of failure. Now that can be with body weight, it could be push-ups, it could be pull-ups, it could be inverted rows, it could be dips, it could be lunges, squats, deadlifts, you name it. But it should be brought to a point where your body becomes fatigued, right? Because you want to create some type of stimulus on those muscles in order for them to have to change and respond. That's a big takeaway. And the other thing is, even if you're on a vegetarian-based diet, you cannot go low protein. We know that now. I mean, I did massive studies on nutrition. See if the book is right behind me right here. So this book right here, it's called, if you're watching this on video, you can check it out. If not, it's called Modern Nutrition in Health and Disease. So it's a huge book. It's a couple thousand pages. And this was one of the books that I have had to read for my board exam. In it, it talks about protein degradation. And when the body's not getting enough protein, what happens is this. Your body starts to catabolize itself and other lean body mass in order to get more amino acids. So yes, your body does have higher protein requirements if you are exercising, but even just from being a human and breathing air, you're going to need to keep your protein requirements at about 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. So that's essentially half your body weight or a little less than that in ounces of protein per day. So, grams per day. So what you want to look at is this. If you weigh 160 pounds, I tried to give this analogy before, you want about 60 to 80 grams of protein per day minimum. That means if you split that over 3 meals, you're looking at about 20 to 25 grams of protein per meal. That's not that big a deal. That's a cup of lentils or legumes or something like that mixed with a gluten-free based starch, or it could be simply 4 ounces, 5 ounces of some type of chicken, fish, or whatever it might be. So keep in mind, it's not difficult to achieve that, and I really believe that that's your starting point to be able to help to transform your body. Every other day exercise, keep your protein at about half your body weight in grams of protein, and then you can take it from there.
Ever wonder what the best sauna, blue blockers, sleep trackers, wake lights, salt lamps, or other health gadgets are? Or what about the top non-toxic mattresses, sheets, soaps, bath products, toothpaste, and cookware? Or would you like to know the cleanest choices for hemp hearts, meal delivery services, supplements, and much more? I personally curated, researched, and now created a resource page of all of my top picks that continues to grow each week. These are the exact products I use in my own life, with my family, in my private practice, and they're the ones I trust. To find out all of my up-to-date recommendations and all the details, simply head on over to StephenCabral.com/resources.